Yes, welcome to this presentation on the introduction to cooperative education pilot program at Khalifa University. Just a quick note, which you can see on your screen here, that to please keep your mic on mute, but we will leave time at the end of the presentation for questions and discussion. But if there is something that you really need clarified in the moment, feel free to pop something in the chat or put your hand up, and we have Hamam monitoring that as well, so we can definitely answer questions if clarification is needed in the moment. So thank you for attending our session on this new innovative program being developed by Khalifa University. So we are very pleased to be partnered with Khalifa to provide our knowledge and expertise in cooperative education as they develop their own pilot program for the Faculty of Engineering. I'll provide an introduction of our University of Waterloo team, our background, and the partnership with the Al Ghurair Foundation, which has really led us to this exciting work with Khalifa University. So you'll be hearing from three of us today. First, I'll introduce myself. My name is Carolyn Lee. I'm an educational developer with the University of Waterloo's Work-Learn Institute, focused on advancing work-integrated learning as a key practice in the future of work. And so my area of expertise, really prior to being with the Work-Learn Institute, was in business development, industry relations, project management, and the development of training and educational resources within the work-integrated learning field. And I'll pass it over to Olivia to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. Before I introduce myself, Carolyn, I was just going to let you know your screen was frozen, but it looks like it's all good now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, all good.
Okay.
So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Olivia. I've worked in cooperative education here at the University of Waterloo for over 8 years, most recently as an account manager or an employer experience manager. So I work with industry partners to create relationships with them, to create co-op opportunities for our students. And my day-to-day involves connecting with co-op employers to identify talent opportunities and needs within their organization, encourage student hiring, and support our employers with work term and recruitment term support. I'll pass it over to Isma.
Thanks, Olivia. Good morning, good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Asma Al-Alul, and my career spans about 15 years, all of it in higher education. I was fortunate to have worked in Kuwait, UAE, at the American University of Sharjah, and currently at the University of Waterloo. I've been here for 3 years in the co-op department. I've worked in a student-facing role, an employer-facing role, and now I'm doing this consulting and educational services role. Really happy to connect with all of you.
Great, thank you, Olivia and Isma. So before we get started, I just wanted to give a kind of an overview of what we'll be talking about today. I mentioned already that the University of Waterloo does have a partnership with the Al Ghurair Foundation, and so I'll talk a little bit about what that partnership is and how long that's been in existence. I'll give some background about who we are, who is co-op, what is co-op at the University of Waterloo. I think you've already heard me mention the term work-integrated learning a few times, not to confuse the topic, but it is a larger term that encompasses various programs that include co-op and internships. So we'll maybe make sure everyone is on the same page with the definitions that we're using. We'd like to talk a bit about the overall kind of high-level benefits of co-op before getting into the details of what co-op is going to look like at KU. What the employment process will be, and which programs and degrees are going to be involved in this pilot program. And we will share some sample jobs that we have seen hired within the fields that we expect the students at KU to be working in. And hopefully will be reflected, will make sense to a lot of the employers on the call today. And then, of course, we want to talk about what the next steps would be for employers who are interested in participating in the program. So I mentioned that two of us here that are presenting to you today are employees at the Work Learn Institute at the University of Waterloo. And who that is, we are the world's only research institute dedicated to work integrated learning. So we have over 20 years of work integrated learning research and program implementation. And so inherently we bridge the gap, or we try to bridge the gap between research and practice to enhance work integrated learning experiences for all stakeholders, for students, employers, and institutions. And we are backed by the University of Waterloo's pioneering co-op model. So the Work Learn Institute is its own institute within the larger unit umbrella of cooperative education at the University of Waterloo. And through our work, we support a variety of stakeholders, but predominantly we are here to support educational institutions like KU, and also we support our own institution at Waterloo and other institutions around the world, organizations and employers such as AGF and the employers on the call today, and of course, government and policymakers, as the government and policymakers really can influence the outcomes for work integrated learning programs in all countries. So our partnership with the Abdullah Al Gharer Foundation. So in early 2022, the University of Waterloo entered a partnership with the Abdullah Al Gharer Foundation for Education to support the enhancement of work integrated learning in the UAE. We have many objectives as part of this project, but I just wanted to highlight three of them that are relevant to our conversation today. One of our objectives is really for capacity building for the enhancement of work integrated learning in the UAE through the creation of a community of practice. And basically, this is just a way to bring in institutions, students, employers from across the country together to talk about best practices, policies, anything that can influence the development and enhancement of these programs in the country. It also includes training and upskilling of university faculty and staff. And of course, the reason why we are here today, the introduction of a cooperative education pilot program for engineering students at Khalifa University. We are absolutely thrilled to be working with Khalifa, such a highly ranked institution with such fantastic programs and top-notch students. And so we believe Khalifa really is the best partner to have to be able to initiate this pilot program in the UAE. So really, why do we at Waterloo believe that co-op is a strong strategy for UAE talent development? And so through our work over the last few years, we have recognized that the government and higher education are committed to developing innovative education solutions, supporting skills and talent development. We've determined that the UAE seems to have a receptive labor market to programming of this type. And we've also determined that co-op could be a strategy to support Emiratization goals by connecting young Emiratis to talent through co-op. And lastly, the UAE has an existing internship model that demonstrates an initial commitment to work integrated learning. So 2 points I'd like to emphasize here. While we recognize that co-op can support Emiratization, it is important to note that co-op is available for all students and the program needs to support all students. So this is a pilot program that's being currently launched with a smaller group of students. And we do know that as the program grows and more students participate, employers will see the return on investment from hiring all students, not just Emiratis. So there are multiple positive outcomes we project from participating in the program. And we really look forward to talking more about these outcomes. And lastly, we will really be talking quite a bit about how co-op is different than the internship model that most people here today are likely familiar with. So before we dive into KU, I thought we'd give a little bit of a background on co-op at Waterloo and where we started and where we are today and how we know what we know, essentially. So our university was founded in 1957, specifically for cooperative education in engineering. So in the early 1950s, Canada was undergoing rapid industrial and economic growth after World War II. And there was a rising demand for engineers and technically skilled professionals to support the country's booming manufacturing and infrastructure development. So the University of Waterloo was officially founded in 1957 with just 74 engineering students specifically focused on cooperative education. And it was a revolutionary idea at the time. And this model allowed students to gain real-world experience while studying and gave companies a chance to influence academic training, which was a win-win that really shaped the university's identity. And our identity is rooted in cooperative education today. And this foundation has allowed the program to grow into what it is now today. So our institution, founded on co-op in 1957, means that we now have over 65 years of experience in innovating and growing work-integrated learning programs. We are regarded by leading publications as #1 in Canada for experiential learning. We currently have over 25,000 students enrolled in over 120 accredited co-op programs. Oh, I think someone's unmuted. If someone, that's okay. Thank you. Thank you. We currently have over 26,000 students enrolled in over 120 accredited co-op programs. And we are regarded as #1 in Canada for employer-student connections with a global network of over 9,300 employers. The majority of our students do complete their work terms, co-op work terms in Canada, but we do have many students that do work around the world. And so we mentioned this is a global network of employers. So to refer back to my previous comment about positive outcomes for employers when hiring all students, we wanted to share some of the outcomes that we see at Waterloo and that we have also seen at other institutions around the world within different economic and cultural contexts. So at Waterloo, we know that co-op is the #1 reason incoming undergraduate students accept offers to Waterloo. We survey our students, and our current statistic is about 75% reported that co-op was the reason that they decided to go to Waterloo. We've also determined that 83% of Waterloo co-op grads will be earning at least 60,000 Canadian dollars 2 years after graduation. This is compared with 44.4% of Ontario graduates. Ontario is our province within Canada where Waterloo resides. I guess a province similar to an emirate in the UAE. And lastly, the employer outcome that we wanted to highlight. In 2018, Deloitte did a study on co-op at Waterloo and determined that 93% of co-op employers reported a positive return on investment from hiring a co-op student. Specifically, the evidence demonstrated approximately a $2 return on a $1 investment. And so we just really wanted to share kind of where we're coming from, what our history is, and why we are really thrilled to be working with Khalifa University on this pilot. Interestingly, when you look at the history of Waterloo, starting with 74 engineering students and the synergy to what Khalifa is now doing within engineering with a smaller group of students as well, is just really interesting. And so we really look forward to helping grow this program with the KU team. So that being said, I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Olivia.
Awesome. Thank you, Carolyn. You can go to the next slide, actually.
Yep.
I'm just going to get right into it here. So you've heard Carolyn mention this word, work integrated learning, probably a few times now. I'll just give a brief overview. So essentially, work integrated learning is a practice that integrates academic studies with quality experiences in a workplace. And for the most part, it's incorporating a partnership between the academic institution, the student, and a host employer organization, and has some agreement for learning objectives or I should say, outcomes and benefits for all stakeholders. So if you go to the next slide, we can just kind of show you this visual overview of these 9 types of work integrated learning. And these are identified by CWIL, which is Canada's governing body for experiential education. So you may recognize a few of the types here. Again, you're probably quite familiar with the internship model, and the one we're going to be talking about today is the cooperative education model. But at a high level, a differentiating factor between these multiple types of will can kind of boil down to the time that a student spends in the workplace and the level of intensity of the experience or the depth of learning that the student is obtaining. So because we want to focus specifically on co-op and how that may differ from internship, you can go to the next slide. And I can just give you a bit of an overview between some of these key differences. Keeping in mind again that we are just at the pilot stage of co-op here at Halifa University, and some of these differences may take time to be recognized. But at a quick overview, some of the differences can be a little bit more transactional, possibly pertaining to the duration or the frequency of the work experience, whether it spans over a few weeks or a few months or even a year. Whether it's one work experience, which is common with the internship model, or multiple work experiences throughout a student's academic degree, which is more common for the co-op model. So for example, at the University of Waterloo, students have anywhere between 4 and 6 work experiences throughout their time at university. For the KU pilot, we're looking at 2 distinct work experiences of 6 months in length each. Another difference is that co-op experiences are generally paid, which I know with internships sometimes can be paid, sometimes are not. And then finally, another transactional difference is because of the focus on multiple work experiences within the co-op model, that really can translate to year-round talent that's available for employers, as opposed to maybe only having students available for a summer season, which might be a more common time frame for internships. Some of the other differences between these two models are more transformational in nature and really highlight more of a heightened level of involvement from everyone that's involved. So from students, employers, and the academic institution. So as examples, in the co-op model, students are applying and they're competing for jobs in a recruitment process that really tries to mimic the real world hiring practices as opposed to being placed in a role by their academic institution. They're also doing work that is similar to that of a junior engineer. So work that is very productive, it's skill-based, it's a high value add to the organization. There's also a focus on students taking their classroom learnings and applying it within the workplace and then bringing their workplace skills and learnings back to the classroom, which again, over time will create this feedback loop of having an academic curriculum that's really informed by what industry wants and needs young people to know. And then also, again, with the co-op model, it's more about having employers and supervisors who are able to really invest in their students in terms of their onboarding and their training, their coaching, their feedback. So it creates a level of personal and professional development and growth within students that can far exceed many of the other types of work integrated learning. Go to the next slide, please. So now that I've talked about some of the differences between the two models, I really want to talk about the benefits of the co-op model specifically. We'll start with students briefly, but then I want to focus more on the benefits to you as employers. So for students, as we mentioned, they are getting a practical application for their classroom learnings in a real work experience. They're getting an understanding of what skills are needed for them to be considered employable. They're getting practice in a true recruitment process. Also a chance to explore different career paths, whether that's through, as I said, the multiple work experiences, or even just through the recruitment process in deciding, seeing the available jobs that are available for them to apply to and deciding which ones they might be most interested in. They also might get a chance to meet new people through the job application process or through the work experience. That can be really valuable networking connections for their career journey. And then finally, they're getting financially compensated, which is obviously a big benefit in terms of helping to offset educational costs, contributing to their overall household income, and setting them up well for a future after they graduate. Go to the next slide. Perfect, thanks. So this is the last piece that I'm going to touch on today. And this is really the benefits for you as employer partners. So I do want to spend a bit of time on this slide because I want to give some specific examples to really help you see how these benefits can come to life. And as a reminder, some of the benefits will be seen right away, like as soon as you bring your co-op student in for the first work experience, while others may be realized after more consistent participation in the co-op program. So the longer that you participate, the higher that your return on investment can be. So the first benefit here, you get access to the best of the best. These are extremely talented students who have been through an application and an interview process to get admitted to the co-op program. They are very motivated to perform and make an impact in your organization. One of the biggest pieces of feedback that I hear from employers that I work with is that their student has exceeded their expectations of what they thought they could accomplish. So maybe what they thought would take their student the 4-month co-op term to do, the student completed that in a month. So the value add is truly there if you're able to provide work that matches the student's skill set and their level of ambition. Second benefit for you, you get an opportunity to hire someone and test them out while without having to commit to them, which is really great for your own talent pipeline, but also to cover off short-term hiring needs that could result from vacations or staff leaves of absence or transfers. Many of our co-op employers that we work with will actually run their projects or programs on a 4-month cycle because that's the length of our co-op work terms. So that allows the student to start and end a project all within their work experience. Within the KU pilot, you're going to have students for 6 months, which is really an ideal time for them to, get fully onboarded, get up to speed, and make an impact for a significant amount of their time with you. Third benefit, access to fresh perspectives. This is one that you will see benefit you right away. It's a key reason why so many employers choose to start hiring students. From like a cultural perspective within your organization, when you bring students in, it can do wonders to shake up that mentality of, this is how it's always been done, or this is how we do things around here. And really just increase that level of critical thinking and innovation around the table. I mean, of course, this has to be supported from the employer side, with you encouraging students to speak up and ask questions and share their ideas and opinions, even though you know that they're not going to have all of the context about your business. But it's just about creating that culture that values and empowers student perspectives. And that will yield a lot of benefit for you in terms of how your current employees think and how your company approaches innovation. The fourth benefit, sharing responsibility. So by hiring students, you really are sharing in that responsibility of developing that next generation of talent. And this can have benefits at a more micro level in terms of maybe a supervisor who's able to take on a mentorship role or a coaching role with young talent and just increase their level of job satisfaction. But this can also be great from a corporate social responsibility perspective, where it can lead to an increased brand awareness for your company. Again, this is over some time, right, where you'll become to be seen as an organization that is really committed to investing in talent rather than maybe more superficial box checking, which we can sometimes see with student hiring. Finally, another benefit is the cost effectiveness of hiring co-op students. So you might be thinking, how is this cost effective? You're telling me that I have to pay the students. So yes, if you're comparing it to an unpaid internship, it will cost you more, but we don't necessarily want you to make that comparison because it's not really apples to apples. We'd rather you compare hiring a co-op student to hiring a junior engineer or hiring a fresh graduate. Because again, these co-op students are not coming into your organization to observe or just to shadow or do light administrative work. They're really coming in to work hard and produce and add value. And when you pay the students, they are incentivized to perform at a higher level. They are more engaged and more accountable because they're being compensated for their work. And this can also lead to them feeling more valued, and that can have benefits in terms of their motivation and their output. So in addition to those things, because you are building your talent pipeline with co-op students, you may find that you'll spend less time, less money, and less resources on recruiting for full-time positions. I actually just had one of my co-op employers let me know this year that they've achieved a 100% conversion rate, meaning that all of their full-time hires were previous co-op students in their organization. So I hope that this has given you a good kind of high-level overview on some of the ways that your organization could benefit from hiring co-op students. So now I'm going to turn it over to Isma to go into a bit more details on the KU pilot.
Thanks, Carolyn and Olivia. Yeah, so now you've heard about WIL and co-op, you've heard about the benefits to students and employers, as well as the outcomes at the University of Waterloo. So let's get into how things are going to play out at Khalifa University. So I want to start off by saying, as Carolyn said, Khalifa has been a great partner to us, and they will be a great partner to you in this co-op pilot. As you all know, Khalifa University is highly ranked within the UAE and the region, and they're very well known for their research and innovation, which is why they've embarked on this journey to launch a unique program in the UAE, the first of its kind, really. And to ensure the success of the co-op pilot, Khalifa University has put together these certain parameters to ensure the success. The first being that they are very selective for this co-op pilot. So the promise is that you're getting high-performing students from the get-go. These students have been through screening interviews, and there's a high bar set for their CGPA. So they must maintain or have a CGPA of 3.25 to enter the program. So this is really hard to achieve at Khalifa University in engineering, so you can guarantee that you're getting high-performing students. As was already mentioned, these are paid co-ops. So again, you're going to be getting students who are serious and motivated because they're really applying to a specific role, not a generic observational role. They're going to be applying for roles that match their program and career goals. So it's not a placement. And so this will create a better match for you and better match for the student as well. You can expect the first co-op term to begin in the students' third. So this co-op pilot, the students are starting their first co-op in the third year, which means they're already coming to you with several semesters of academic studies. So they're coming in highly skilled and highly prepared to hit the ground running. In the co-op pilot, they're going to be completing 2 work terms, as mentioned, 6 months each. The first one will be in the third year, as mentioned, summer to fall, and then the second one will be in the final year from spring to summer. Now I want to give you a high-level overview of the employment process, sort of what are the steps that take place prior to the work term taking place. So we're currently in this process. It's about a 4 to 6 month period. It starts off with setting things up, then getting the job postings and applications in place, setting up interviews, a decision is made, and then the work term takes place. So for students, that looks like currently they're getting career readiness workshops. They're going through a lot of training to be prepared for co-op. Once the job postings are in, they'll be applying and then interviewing, of course, and then perhaps accepting an offer, and then the work term begins. For yourselves, what that looks like right now is these information sessions and preparation sessions that we're holding with you. In the future, once Khalifa University has launched the system that they'll be using to house all of the co-op activities, Simplicity, in the future, so this time would be spent to onboard employers to the system and having the job postings added in. So for now, we're doing the preparation work, and then job postings will take place between November and December. So you can expect that to be sort of the next stage. And a lot of resources and support will be given for that. And I'll mention some of that a bit later on. In January, we expect that interviews will take place. And of course, Khalifa University will coordinate the logistics with you in terms of where and when to be holding those. Hopefully you'll interview a good set of students, like somebody, maybe more than one student, and then the hiring will take place. A match will take place between February and March. The work term will take place. The upcoming one is June to December of 2026. I just want to mention that during the work terms, what's required of employers is just to be able to give feedback to Khalifa University, to be providing a final co-op evaluation for the student, which is required for them to earn a credit. But that's about it. There might be a site visit from Khalifa University to check in, and of course, they are there to support you throughout the entire process. So I'm not sure if you are feeling overwhelmed or feeling like it might be a bit much. Maybe it depends on the size of your organization. But what I want to establish here is that Khalifa University is going to really be there every step of the way. So some of the ways that they'll be helping are with job posting assistance. So first of all, they'll be supporting you with crafting job postings and getting those advertised to students at Khalifa University so that they can apply. Of course, they're doing all of the back-end work with students to prepare them for the co-op. And then for recruitment management, they're going to be reviewing applications to kind of like an initial set of filtration before applications are then passed on to you. They'll be assisting with the interview scheduling and logistics. And then finally, they'll be finalizing the match, kind of seeing what top rated students you had, what top employer the student had, and then kind of creating a match where both sides are satisfied and making sure that the hiring process is smooth. As mentioned already, they'll be doing site visits during the work term, and that's just to check in, make sure things are smooth and going well. And on a needs basis, you may request any kind of support that you would like or any intervention that you would like during the work term. In terms of documentation management, of course, you may have your own systems and have to record the hiring on your end in some sort of way, but all of it will also be housed on the Khalifa University side. So they are working on developing the Simplicity system, which will be able to register the work term, hold any documentation, and of course, it's a really great data sort of a source of data for you as well. So Simplicity, once you get access to it, you'll be able to track your previous hiring and hiring trends and which programs you hired from and so on. So at a long term, in the long term, it's the documentation system at Khalifa University will be very valuable to you as well with your hiring trends. Of course, there will be events and workshops available to you to attend, to network with students, network with other employers as well, to learn about their co-op journey and how they're doing things. And all of that gives you an opportunity to do your employer branding on campus. Of course, Khalifa University will be there to promote your brand, sort of to show appreciation for you being a valued co-op partner and a pioneer of co-op. So on the next slide, I just want to cover maybe you're thinking, okay, maybe I'm buying in, maybe I like the idea, but what can students do? What can Khalifa University students do at my organization? So I'm going to give you a few samples of job titles that are that could be done by students from the various programs at Khalifa University. So the pilot includes 11 different programs from engineering. I have 8 of them here on this slide from the College of Engineering and Physical Sciences. So you'll have students from aerospace engineering, chemical, civil, energy, electrical, industrial and systems, mechanical, and petroleum. So I won't read all the job titles. They're there. You'll have the recording after, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. These are just a couple of samples. Of course, the sky's the limit, and really as Olivia mentioned, any role that you currently have at your organization, a junior level would be of capacity, would be of the capability of the students at Khalifa. So for example, I think we have a bunch of, a good group of construction companies joining us today. So I saw on the list Trojan, Parsons, L&T. So your obvious choice might be to go for a civil engineering student, and you can hire a civil or structural engineering co-op student for that term. However, maybe you're working on a roads and transportation project, and you got to look at policy and UAE sustainability, right? So maybe you want to consider an energy student who'd be able to do an energy policy and sustainability analyst role. Another example, I think I saw Tenaris on the list. So Tenaris does a lot of support for oil and gas sector. So your obvious choice, again, might be petroleum engineering or energy engineering. However, I know at Tenaris, you're very focused on process improvement and efficiency. So maybe you'll want to consider an industrial student who can do a process improvement associate role. On the next slide, I'll have the remaining programs listed here as well. So from the College of Computing and Mathematical Sciences, we have computer engineering and computer science. And from the College of Medical and Health Sciences, we have biomedical engineering. So if you're from the medical field, feel free to go for biomedical engineering students. However, for sure, you have data and information systems, and you may be able to tap into a junior cybersecurity analyst from computer science. I think as well, we have the NSSTC and the UAE Space Agency. Surely you care a lot about your information systems. So definitely any student from any program, not just aerospace, can support your needs. So what we're establishing here is that there are a variety of disciplines featured at the Khalifa University. We have students ready and prepared to fit a variety of roles. And so really your role is to, perhaps you're an HR person, perhaps you're not, but you can go back to your organizations and talk to the different units and consider where there may be a need or a skills gap, and you're more than welcome to partner with Khalifa University to hire co-op students to fill those gaps. And I think we all know in the Arab world, engineers can do anything, right? So on the final slide, I think I'm going to get into just sort of a recap of what are the benefits to you. You've heard this already, but let's just go through it one more time. So of course, you're getting high quality talent. That's the promise. Because you're paying, because students are competing for these roles, you are going to end up with better quality students who are much more motivated to fulfill a specific role and a specific need at your organization. They're going to be coming in with fresh perspectives because they're coming in from 11 different disciplines at Khalifa University, the top university for research and innovation in the region. And they're learning the fresh skills that you would want, AI, ML, and so on. They're coming in with that latest information. Co-op gives you a lot of flexibility and productivity. So first of all, you're getting students, as the program grows and extends, you'll be able to hire students all year round, as well as the fact that you can hire students to fill in any sort of short-term need that you have, like a short-term contract or project, filling in for a maternity leave, things like that. So the flexibility that you get from co-op, you don't get from anything else. What you're also doing in hiring co-op students is building your talent pipeline. So the talent evaluation piece is really key. It's a really cost-effective method, as we mentioned. Typically in Canada, we've had really good conversion rates. So a lot of times the students that you do hire for co-op do end up returning to you as full-time employees, depending on the experience that they get, of course. So you can expect that investing in co-op is an investment in your long-term talent pipeline. In terms of workforce development, as we mentioned, it is a shared responsibility. UAE has really ambitious goals in terms of Emiratization and upskilling our UAE nationals. So this is an opportunity, again, to give those students that opportunity early on in their sort of educational career as well, not just after graduation. As mentioned, Emiratization is great, and we do have plenty of UAE nationals. However, the program, I do want to reiterate, as Carolyn mentioned, the program is for all students. So we do encourage and appreciate your consideration of all students. Again, the growth of the program and the success of the program will result in better outcomes for everybody, including the word of mouth getting out there and having more UAE nationals participating in the future as well. And last but not least, of course, your employer branding is key. This is an opportunity, again, to get your voice, to get your name out there on campus, And also to make use of this on your social media and to kind of participate and collaborate with having that strong collaboration between industry and education is really important. So hopefully you're getting getting enticed, getting excited about this. So let's talk about what the next steps may be. So I have a QR code here. If you'd like to give us any feedback, have any questions, you're welcome to scan this QR code and provide us with an indication of your interest. It's not a final yes right now, but we would like to have an indication of your interest at this point. So please feel free to fill out the form. And just know that there are lots of resources that are going to be shared throughout from here on. And the next thing that you can attend is an information session happening actually in person, also delivered by the Waterloo team. So actually Olivia and my colleagues Olivia and Carolyn will be there in person on October 27th. So if you're already registered to do the career fair, that session is happening on the same day. So that session will be dedicated to taking actual steps. So crafting your job postings and considering which job titles might be suitable. So we do encourage you to stay in touch, attend the upcoming event in a couple of weeks. And if you do have any questions or any other concerns or comments along the way, feel free to contact the KU team at coop.program@ku.ac.ae. Thanks so much for your time. I think we'll take questions from here on unless anyone else has anything to add.
No, I think that's great, Isma. I'm going to leave, we have a final slide, but it has no information other than thank you. So we'll leave this slide actually up because it has the contact information that would be relevant. So yeah, thank you, Isma.
So we're
Thank you very much.
Questions.
Oh, there we go.
That's me, Hammam. Thank you very much, Caroline, Isma, and Olivia. It was a great presentation. And now we would open the door for all questions, but I would highly appreciate, first of all, if you can scan the QR code and give us your feedback, especially if you have questions, you can mention it there because I'm currently preparing an FAQ for all companies. So your question will be really helpful. And would be great if you can also give us questions here. If you want to turn on your mic and speak out, or type your question on the chat and I'll read it out loud for you. So we got a question here from Ria Karki. So you will be the one selecting the candidates and screening the applications, not from our side. Okay, I can answer this one. So mainly the screening interviews are not to eliminate students, the KU screening interviews. They are not to eliminate students, but actually to ensure that all students who have registered for the program are fully committed. We do not want you to waste your time working on applications and giving offers and interviews, and then end up with a student who withdraw their application at the end. So most probably, like most of the students who have registered will actually go through to the next stage unless we feel that they are not committed, because there's a delay of a minimum of 6 months for every student. So we need to make sure that this student is fully aware and ready to go with us on this journey.
Mom, can I just add? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go on. No, go ahead.
I just wanted to distinguish between the two selections that you're selecting the pool of the pilot students. The employer is still going to be selecting their own, interviewing and selecting their own candidates from that pool of students, just to clarify. Yeah.
So I think Salman, you have a question?
Yes, thank you very much. First of all, my name is Salman Wes from Huawei Technologies HR department. Thank you very much, everyone. So the first question I have is that is there a limit to the salary? It was mentioned because for internees, it can be unpaid, it can be paid. We are paying some amount to the internees. So is there a limit for the payment to these students? So the mics are mute if anybody is talking.
We are setting a minimum threshold because we want this to be an attractive option to the students. So I believe the minimum threshold is set to be around 7K monthly, 8K monthly, which is comparable to most of the junior jobs, if not a bit less than the junior jobs, as per my understanding. And again, just to echo what Caroline, Olivia, and Asma said, this is a cheap labor for you. I mean, like instead of you hiring like a fresh graduate, paying maybe double this amount, and then you figure out that this is not what you need. I think this is a way of testing the water, and you are getting someone who might be a very good individual who is going to continue with you for the longer period. So I think, as I mentioned, we are setting a minimum bar, which is about 7K per month. And this is a typical number based on previous co-ops. For example, in Canada, in the States, this is pretty much aligned with the normal wages that we have there. And of course, we are setting the minimum bar only, but we're not setting a maximum bar. So feel free to increase that. In some cases with Emiratis, I think we can also have some kind of support from governmental agencies that can top up the salary, which is going to be a good idea as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hab. So I believe, Mr. Hab, you were the one to present the first time when we had this introduction. And during that time, there was a concern from my side, and I believe other organizations also presented the same concern. And that was that, okay, we understand, and there was some benefits on slide number 18, like access to talented students, cover short time, access to fresh ideas, sharing responsibility, cost effective. All of this is good, but this is also possible through fresh graduates, also possible through internship. And then let's say even we as a company, we go for this one. And after 6 months, we spend time, we spend our efforts on this and we train him and we want to hire this student. And then he goes for another company. Is there a guarantee? Is there some compensation from the university that we have spent so many man hours training this candidate? And when it was time for him to be part of our organization, he goes to another company. So how do we cover this
Unfortunately,
part?
there is no guarantee that the students are going to be sticking to your company unless your company is really competitive and the student like what he or she is doing and also see the potential growth in the career. But we cannot guarantee anything. We cannot even guarantee that, for example, when you are putting a job description, that student is going to be allocated to your program. So this is a very competitive market. So it is exactly the same as if you are putting an advertisement for a fresh graduate. You cannot guarantee which fresh graduate you are going to receive, right? So you are going to do interviews and you're going to get the best based on your interview. So again, just to reiterate, there is no guarantee, but in most of the cases from the past experience, we see that the students who are doing co-ops with certain companies, they go back to those companies. As I think Caroline has a statistics with the Caroline, correct me if I'm wrong. Lots
Yeah, you're right. I don't want to say a number because I'm not exactly sure what it is, but you're exactly right. There are a lot of students that do end up going back to their co-op employer. I mean, Olivia had the example of the one company that had 100% of their new hires were from
from their co-ops.
previous co-op.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I think to your point, Dr. Ahab, it's the competitiveness piece. You want to you want to convince those students to come back. If it's a student that you want to come back through the quality of the work, through the pay, all of those things. But it is not a guarantee. That's exactly right.
And also I have to put another social part of it. I mean, when you are training the students, you are serving the community. I know that you would like to get the student back because you invested in the student, but even if this student went to another company, I think this is also a payback to the community. So the student is not going to go away. Is going to serve your company or serve another company within Abu Dhabi or within the UAE, which is still like part of the duties. I believe part of the duties of the companies is to have this kind of compensation to the community, which I believe it is part of the social dynamics that we have here.
Thank you very much. I agree with you. I mean, it's the student's choice. But you see, if you hire a fresh graduate, we enter into a labor contract. And in that case, if an employee leaves, there is compensation that the employee is supposed to provide to the employer. But in this case, this is not there. So this is the only point. I 100% agree. It's the personal choice of the students, whether they want to join or they do not want to join. But there is a third party involved here, which is Khalifa University. So this was the only concern. Otherwise, of course, we are working
But
in the market.
Khalifa University is
Yeah.
also doing its part by getting you the best talented students. I mean, we are investing in our education and we are paying actually for that, which is something that you are not involved in. I mean, we are the ones who are paying to prepare those students to be employable to the best that we can. So this kind of investment, if we can say that, oh, why we are paying money to support those students and then they are going out to work in industries, okay? It will be the same thing, right? Because we are paying the money and you guys are getting the students prepared, well educated, well trained. So we can say that we can keep our students to be researcher at the university instead of giving them away to industry.
If
Agreed.
I may add something here, we regarding the payment thing, we made sure that it's paid because we want our students to actually work and be productive. We don't want them to go there and be only trained or observing or doing just a regular internship. This is one thing, and it's also another way for you to actually evaluate that person if they can be potentially good for your organization in the future. So you don't have a full commitment of a contract or a 1 year or 3 years contract. No, you can have a pool of candidates that can actually be there. You might not like that specific student. There's no guarantee, for them and also for the company. So that's the beauty of the co-op thing. That's why the co-op can be very beneficial for you.
Agreed, agreed. But see, I'm in the HR department, specifically in the recruitment department, and I'm dealing with the candidates. And just to give you an example, each country, every country have their own dynamics. UAE, I don't know whether to say fortunately or unfortunately, we have a lot of talent pool. None of the companies have any issue with the talent pool. For example, I posted a position maybe last week. As of now, I have 1,200 and something candidates. So saying this one and asking organization to go for uh, such kind of programs, maybe if they are doing it only for the social responsibility, that's fine. But sometimes somehow feels that this is not gonna benefit the company in all the points that have been mentioned, since there is such a huge resource pool available already, talent pipeline. So this is just my opinion, but of course, as a
But
social
just
responsibility, for sure, this is a very productive move.
Just one point, Salman, referring to what Hammam said. I think if you go through a binding contract with someone, okay, then you have to fulfill the contract. So if this contract is for 1 year and this individual ends up to be not the target or not the quality or not the person that you are looking for, then you are losing the 1 year contract, correct? So you have to keep this individual for 1 year and then let go with all the compensations and everything. So the difference here is that you don't have this kind of risk because you are getting this individual for 6 months only. And if you like the individual and you get to know the quality and the capability of this individual, you can continue with him or her and offer them a full-time contract. So I think in every single job, and you definitely know that better than me because you are HR, you have factor of risk, right? That you can hire someone who doesn't fit, and you have to live with this person for a year, for example, which is a typical length of a contract, correct? So what is the difference now? The difference is that you have one individual who will be with you for 6 months versus one individual who will be with you for 1 year. correct? Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
No. So see, first of all, I mean, I suggest that we can discuss later on once I visit the university. I can give you the details. So it's not exactly like this. The labor law gives the companies leverage how they can release an employee. They don't have to fulfill 1 year or 2 year commitment. There are ways to get out of the contract. This is number one. And number two, I think others may not have this kind of confusion. Maybe it's only me. So once I come to the career fair, maybe I can discuss this and clarify these points one to one. I will let others to have their opportunity to ask questions. But thank you
Sure.
very much for your
Sure.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Salman. So we got a question from Mr. Abdullah Suwaidi from Waterloo Energy. What is the pay? I think we have already mentioned that, Mr. Abdullah. Ria is asking about the interview scheduling. Once we have the full list and we get the posts from companies, we will agree on the best process either for you and for our side to have the best time for interview. You can do it at your place, at your company. If you would like to have on-campus interview day for you, we can arrange that as well.
But typically, Hammam, the interviews will be sometime after mid-January.
Yeah. Moses asking, do you have students who can work on site, UAE nationals? Definitely, Moza, we would love to have our students to go and work on site. Correct me if I'm wrong, Moza, if I didn't answer the question. Okay, Mr. Abdul Basir, yes, I'm going to share the presentation by the end of today's session. Ria, what are the timelines of the co-op? It starts from June to December 26 for all students. Yes, they will start June, and that's co-op 1, and they will end by December 26. 6 months of full-time job. Is there a minimum number of students the company can accommodate? It's up to you. You can get like as many as you want, as long as they are all going to be placed for a full-time opportunity at your company. And of course, if both the company and the student agree. Shane, thanks for the info. Okay, thank you, Shane. Will co-op students count towards amortization during their co-op period? This is a good question that I need to get information about and get back to you, Mr. Abdul Basir.
I just wanted to comment in addition to what you mentioned, Hammam, to Mosa's question. So Mosa, you'll be stipulating the work arrangement in your job posting. So if you are posting it as an in-person job, the student, if they're hired for an in-person job. If you're posting it as a hybrid or remote, that's up to you what you want to stipulate in the job description. And students would have to, if they are hired, you'd have to abide by that. They would have applied for it knowing the arrangement for the job. And I just want to add one little point regarding Salman's question. I know we closed that topic, but I just want to add that think about the value of when students have come to you who have maybe worked at your competitor for co-op, but they're going to come and work for you. They're going to be coming in with a lot of value add, right? So the growth of the program and the support of co-op will be a good benefit. It's sort of like an open market system, right? So the benefit will be for all. So if you had a student working in different locations and then or different companies, and then they come to you, that's going to be a great value add to you, as opposed to getting 1,000 applications from fresh grads who have not worked anywhere. It's better to hire a student who did co-op. So that can be a point of filtration for you. So when you get those applications, you can simply filter for any student who did co-op, whether it was at your organization or not. And you can bet that they will be highly productive and a lot more prepared for the job than someone who didn't do co-op at all, right? So think about the value of supporting co-op in general, how that's going to pay back whether the student did the co-op with you or not.
We have Anushka.
Hi, this is Anushka from Siemens. I just have a little question regarding the location question. It might be a little bit specific to add to what people asked. So we work remotely, but we have two offices. One is in Abu Dhabi and also in Dubai. Can we also get people for our Dubai office? Is it kind of just based on if people are available and willing to come to the Dubai office, or for now, would we just concentrate on Abu Dhabi?
So in
You can
general,
have them anywhere. I mean, currently we have internships in Dubai and in other Emirates. So the students can be located anywhere.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
any other questions? I would highly appreciate that all our partners actually go to the forum and fill it up. And if you have any questions, especially Mr. Abdul Basir, this question is really important. If the co-op count towards amortization, so we can actually do some research about it. So if you can ask all your questions as well there, and I'll make sure to actually answer them all and share all Q&As with all of you. We have a question from Tenaris. Mr. Said, you set the minimum pay at 7,000 dirhams, but we have interns paid less. Is this the final?
But I think we explained this, the difference between internship and co-op regarding the pay. So we know that internship normally is not paid. And if you are paying any stipend for internship, this is something that companies can do or cannot, depends on their policy. But for co-op, it has to be paid. And I think this payment is sort of incentive for the student who is doing the co-op to put more effort and be more productive. So we are looking at to mimic actually an employee, not just an internship. So this individual will be an employee. So the pay is not just small stipend for an internship. If this answered the questions, I don't know.
Mr. Said, you can turn on your mic and speak up.
Yeah, thanks, Hammam. Thank you, Ihab. Actually, the question I just asked you is the 7,000 you've set as a minimum salary. I'm not negotiating the salary here, but what I'm saying is we have an interns that they actually get paid less than this. And in companies, usually like Tenaris and any other companies, you will keep always the equity because people talk to each other. I understand that it's a different program, but the pay itself is something I think if you will keep it to the companies to set it, maybe a little bit flexibility.
And we are doing that exactly. So we are leaving the payment to the company as flexible, but what we are looking at is to set a minimum bar. So for example, like in Canada, the pay is according to the minimum wage per hour. So we thought that we have a minimum bar because some companies would be, if we just left it open, then some company would say, okay, I'll pay the individual maybe 2,000 a month. And then the other guys will pay 10,000 a month. Someone will pay 15,000. So we want just to put a minimum bar, which is attractive to the students, because at the end, we are thinking of what is going to be the rationale for the student to actually delay their graduation for 6 months to get the co-op. It has to be something, right? So if we tell the students that you are going to delay your graduation 6 months without getting a pay or getting a very small pay, this is not going to be an attractive option, because at that time they will prefer actually to go and finish their requirement and graduate and seek a job, a full-time job after that. So we are trying to be a little bit of more rational when we are putting a minimum pay for the students.
Okay. If I might add one more point also, because maybe I missed this point, but what is the contractual here agreement? It will be between the company, between us, and between the student himself, or how it will work?
Yes, it will be between the company and the student. KU is not going to be part of this agreement.
Okay, so this will be governed by Mohri, so we will offer them a part-time contract.
It is a full-time but limited contract. It's full-time 6 months contract. So it's not part-time, because part-time means that you have maybe 4 hours a day, but this is a totally full-time. So it is 40 hours a week and it is for 6 months. So it is limited contract or identified time span contract for 6 months. but full time.
So if I understood well in this case, and we are offering 7,000, then if we are under Abu Dhabi government, let's say, and you have to register them with the pension system, this means there will be a contribution from the company, and this is also answering the point that you've said there will be a
No,
top-up pay
I
on top of this.
don't think at this stage they will be eligible to be registered under the pension plan because they are still students. They are not employee as per se. So the company does not have to pay pension. It is just a stipend for the individual because their status is still students, not an employee. They're not graduated yet.
Let me add something to this based on my experience and also dealing with the partners. This is Salman, by the way. So to add to this question is that if you make a full-time contract, may it be 6 months or 1 year, if you make a full-time contract, you need to add them for the pension, and you will get this headcount will be considered as an Emirati headcount.
You have to
So
actually, yes, and it will be counted.
it will be counted as an Emirati
Correct.
headcount. So this is also one of the benefits you can
Yeah.
get.
This
But
is a
this you
benefit.
can also, oh yeah, but this you can also do with the internees. If, for example, you
Right.
register a full-time contract for the internee, they will again still be considered as headcount, Emirati headcount, and you have to pay their pension.
Yeah, I agree with you on this point because I've also tried it, but my only other issue here is the retention KPI that you always have with Mohri.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
this
that's
is a
correct.
concern. That was my main reason of asking. This contract and agreement will be direct with them or with Khalifa University.
Okay.
So if
for
the
the
agreement
retention,
is
you need
if
to
the
consult.
agreement is with Khalifa University, does this change anything related to the pension?
It's more like an internship agreement, yes. So
So
you
it
provide
is
us with the students, they come for internship, and the payment can be through you from the company to Khalifa University to the students.
oh, okay. And in that case, you don't have to pay the pension.
Yes, because you don't have the labor contract.
So it will be a contract with KU, not with the student, in
Right.
order to avoid paying the pension.
Yeah, because
And
as
then,
per about, yes,
yeah, and to avoid this retention problem that was mentioned by
100%,
Salman.
yes, yes.
Okay.
As this is purely as per Abu Dhabi pension system, because once you have this contract, you have a grace period to register it immediately with the pension. Otherwise, there will be a start of fines and penalties.
So even if the individual is labeled as a trainee, for example, you still have to do that?
Right. Yeah, even if it's a part-time contract, is the same thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Said, I believe at Tanaris you have the GT program, right? The Global Trainees Program. Is that like a full-time, they get the
That's
pension
a
and
full-time
everything?
after graduation. You're right. Yeah.
So is it not that co-op can kind of be the same or replace perhaps the
Can't
GT
be.
program?
No, can't be because it's for 2 years and it's a full-time, and the commitment is the most important thing after that. So they have to continue serving with the nurse.
Said, may I know roughly, like an estimate, how much the salary for this graduate program per month, average? Or for any
It's a
graduate
full-time
engineer?
employment, Hammam. So they have a salary, they have some other benefits, but I can tell you it's from 15 to 25.
So what is the salary of the internship that you guys are paying?
6,000.
Oh, okay. So it's not far away.
From the 7,000, no, but my only point is the equity.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like internship is a bit different.
Yeah.
I mean, as explained in the presentation here.
Actually, the minimum salary set here for the Emiratis is 4,000, and we are paying above that. So we paid the 6,000, and for the interns as well, we provide them with the contract, we register them in the pension, so they get the top up on top of this.
Okay, but the 4,000 is the total salary, the gross salary?
4,000 is set by the government to be the minimum salary for the Emirati national, yes.
But for any level, I mean, like whether high school or university graduate or something like that?
Yes, for any level, in order to register them with the pension system, the minimum salary acceptable is 4,000 in Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Only the pension support will change if it is high school or if it's a graduate. the NAFIS support, sorry, not the pension
The
support. The
top-up,
NAFIS
yes.
support will change. If it's a graduate, it will be 7,000. And if it is a high school, I think it's 3,500 or 5,000. This is the only difference. Otherwise, they will be considered as a Emirati headcount.
Okay.
Correct.
But this NAFIS is on top of the 4,000 minimum, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay. But NAFIS is not going to kick in unless this is a continuing job. So for the co-op students who are coming back to school, NAFIS cannot be utilized.
No, it
So-
will. It will. They will pay them as far as they are receiving their salaries once they are registered with the pension department.
Okay.
Yeah, so as
So-
long as it's a full-time contract, it will be considered as NAFIS
Yes.
eligible.
Okay.
And registering them, Mr. Ihab, with the pension is another benefits for the student as well, because they will start their pension from now. The contribution as well will be started from now on top of the company, and from the employee, there's a government contribution as well for them.
But if they remain for 6 months and then come back to school, so the pension will be only paid for 6 months and then it will stop. And then when they go back after they graduate to work, then the pension will kick again, right?
Right, from when they stop.
Okay.
But the benefit, as the gentleman has mentioned, is that their start date, their service period will start to grow, just like gratuity. You join date and your gratuity will start to have a longer service period, the better benefit you will get. So once their pension starts, it is the starting point will give them benefit in future. They will achieve the minimum requirement from government earlier compared to someone who starts after their graduation.
Yeah, sure. So I think those issues can be something that we can discuss maybe on the face-to-face meeting on the 27th of October, because there are lots of logistics. I'm not an expert in that. You guys are in HR and you know the rules and regulations. I'm not really familiar with that, and it is a bit different from one country to another. So I think those logistics are really valuable, and I think we can look at what will be the optimal scenario to get those students in the companies with the minimal disruption to your system and to the maximum benefit to the student and of course to the company.
There's a
We have,
comment in the chat as well that medical insurance is affected as well if the contract is with KU. So that's another concern perhaps.
I think the students are going to remain under the KU medical insurance even if they went out. Correct me, Hammam, if I'm wrong, like the internship guys remain under KU health insurance, right?
yeah, they are all of students here are covered.
Yeah.
Like
So
with
it doesn't
the-
matter whether they go for an internship or co-op, they will remain covered by KU insurance, health insurance.
We have a comment also from Rina from Hatch. Can you please confirm that we would be able to hire the student only after a year after their co-op program once they complete their studies? Rina, can you please explain your question? Sorry, I don't get it, to be
I
honest.
think this relates to the same guarantee that if we train the co-op student for 6 months and they came back to school for 1 year and then graduate, they have the first hand to take them back.
Yeah, that like the option to hire them would be only after a year, right? That's
Yes.
what my
Or
question
in
was.
in the current pilot scenario, yes, they will come back for a year to finish their graduation requirement, and then they are going to be free to go. And of course, if they like the training and they have the offer, for example, they will be coming back to you as a first option. But definitely, there is no guarantee for that. I mean, we cannot actually guarantee that the students who have been trained in your facility will be actually coming back to you. But most probably, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And of course, it depends. I mean, if you offer them, if they got an offer from you in their 4th year, which is what we see, for example, at Waterloo, the students get offers before they graduate. Definitely, they have the offer in their hand. They will finish the graduation and then come to you. So I think there are ways to attract the student to come back to you through offering them a full-time employment before they graduate.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. I'll make sure to send a summary of this meeting to all of you with the presentation. And I would like to thank Caroline, Olivia, and Isma for their amazing presentation and for their continuous support towards this pilot program.
I'm looking forward to see you guys here at Khalifa University on the 27th. Have a safe
Yes.
flight.
Thanks so much,
Thank you.
everyone.
Looking forward to it. Yes.
Thank
Have a great
you.
day. Yeah,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
Have a
you.
good day, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye now.
Yeah. Bye-bye.